Hi, my name is Nancy. In some upcoming segments, we're going to be talking about applique. We're going to do some applique by machine and some applique by hand. So in this segment today, we're going to talk about invisible machine applique. Now you would use invisible machine applique when the project that you're working on, you really want that traditional applique look. Later on down the road, we'll do some fusible applique using blanket stitch and satin stitch. And then a few segments down, we're going to do some hand applique with a friend of mine. The thing to know about applique is there is literally thousands of different ways. There's every technique under the sun. There's a gazillion teachers, and my recommendation is take as many applique classes as you can, because you'll never know what is your technique. Now, when I first started quilting, I had some friends tell me that applique was the A word, like it was somehow a bad thing, and I believed them. They were wrong, but I did believe them. So when I started doing my first applique projects, I thought there is no way I'm going to tackle hand applique, that A word. So I had decided that I was going to perfect machine applique to the point where I would never have to hand applique. Just so you know, for future reference, I love hand applique now, and when we teach you the couple of different techniques that we will, I think you'll really like it too. But machine applique still has it's something that you will use in your quilt making over time. So I want to start by showing you just a couple of quilts that I've made using this invisible machine applique technique. This was one of the first big applique quilts that I did. This quilt should have been done with hand applique. The pieces are very, very small, and there's a lot of intricate work. Now, there are some really large pieces. These large pieces, I still might even today actually do them with the invisible machine applique technique, but the small pieces, I would do by hand. When I'm showing you the turning techniques, imagine how difficult it was for me to turn some of these really small pieces. So this one, all done with invisible machine applique. This next one is one that actually I still would use the invisible machine applique technique for this quilt, even if I were going to do it today. The reason being is these really big pieces. When you have really large pieces that are in the applique, doing it by machine is actually really simple. Just a little FYI, this section where the little eagle's foot and the arrow and the olive branch, that was actually done with ultra suede. So I didn't turn the edges at all. You can see that this piece actually comes up. Ultra suede is really fun when you've got very tight details, or if you're doing little teeny berries, you can use ultra suede and nobody will know that you actually didn't turn the edges on it. The last one I want to show you is one using the technique that we used last time. In the last segment, I was teaching you how to turn the cables. So this is a bias cable, and I taught you how to do that. This is the piece that we're using in the Learn to Quilt quilt that we're making. But I use that same technique for the Celtic design. So this is a Celtic pillow, and typically when I'm doing Celtic work, you'll usually do it by machine. So the stitching down is the invisible machine applique. Next, we're going to cover all of the tools that you use just for the turning technique. So for this invisible machine applique technique, we want to turn the edges of our pieces. So this is what it'll look like when I actually turn the edge of the piece. On the back side of it is interfacing. When I actually get done stitching it, this is what it'll look like, and then we will actually turn that, and I'll take you through step by step. These are some of the tools that you need to make this happen. First off is you need some fusible interfacing. Now, this is a normal, very inexpensive fusible interfacing that you would use for garments. So you should be able to find this in any sewing store. I like using this one, but it can be a little bit stiff. My preferred piece of interfacing is actually a tricot. The tricot interfacing has a little bit of a stretch to it, so this is the fusible interfacing that a seamstress will use if she's making a garment that needs to keep the stretch in it. There's fusible on it, it's stretchy, it works really nice for this technique. A really important tool is the pinking shears. This is like one of my prized possessions. I found this pair of Craftsman pinking shears in an antique mall for $12, and they're sharp, which that alone in pinking shear world is kind of a miracle. Pinking shears never stay sharp. So you need to have somebody that you knows how to sharpen your scissors, and if a miracle happens, you might be able to find yourself a pair of Craftsman pinking shears. Then you need a really sharp pair of regular scissors, a marking tool. Now, here's just 2 marking tools. These are going to work. I'm going to be able to draw on the interfacing with these. You won't see what is marking, so it won't matter if it's a permanent or an erasable. A very pointy awl. I prefer this one from Clover. I love that it's got the nice big handle. It actually has a protective cover to keep you safe so that that pointy awl doesn't hurt you. This is a tool that I heard about actually from Eleanor Peace Bailey. I took a doll making class with her years ago, and she introduced me to the Turn It All tool. This tool is what you can use to turn all these different pieces that I'm going to show you, but you can also use it in a lot of different garment making techniques also, and doll making. This is a hemostat. Now, I'm not sure where I got that from, but I think that they use that in a hospital. But the idea of a hemostat is that it actually grabs tight and then locks. So if you need to grab the fabric, it'll hold onto it. I'll show you how I use that. Love using the hemostat. I just don't know where you find them, honestly. Then you'll need a couple of other turning tools. Now, this is a little wood one. Again, I really don't know where I've got it from. I have had it for so long. I use it when I'm making garments and I'm turning a collar and I need a sharp point. It also has a very sharp edge here, so when you're marking, you can actually mark a temporary line. But it's the fact that this is very, very pointy that's going to help me turn the pieces that I'm actually making. And then this one's very popular. This one's called the Purple Thang. Now, the Purple Thang has a very sharp point. It also has a squared off edge so that when you're using this to turn your pieces, this is not going to be so sharp that you're going to poke through the fabric, but it's sharp enough that it's going to give you a really crisp point. So those are the tools that we're going to use for the turning technique. Thanks for watching our video. Be sure you subscribe to our channel. We wouldn't want you to miss a single one. Leave a comment. We would love to hear from you.